Hey everybody, Kevin Thompson, and welcome to the final day of the 31-day challenge. You know, if I were headed into life-threatening surgery, my one prayer would be, Lord, let me live. If I were being held captive in a foreign country, my one prayer would be, Lord, let me be free. If I were hungry with no food to be found, my one prayer would be, Lord, let me eat. If I were homeless with no place to lay my head, my one prayer would be, Lord, give me a home. If I were lonely with not a friend in the world, my one prayer would be, Lord, give me a family. If I were without work and could not pay my bills, my one prayer would be, Lord, give me a job. If I were overwhelmed by my sin with no ability to make it right, my one prayer would be, Lord, forgive me. And yet, as I look at this day, I realize that God has given me life, freedom, food and a home, a family and a job, and forgiveness. This doesn't mean I'm without need. It doesn't mean there aren't things I wouldn't change. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. Yet it does mean that I have been given far more than I often realize. I've been blessed beyond anything I deserve, and no matter what needs might be in my life, there are more things I can thank God for than I can ask Him for. If I were to narrow down humanity's role to one thing, it would be to live a life of gratitude in response to what God has done for us. Gratitude is not a denial of the hardships of life. It is a recognition of the good even amidst the bad. A few years ago, when my father-in-law died after a short bout with cancer, the phrase which we repeated 100 times was that our gratitude outweighed our grief. Years later, that phrase is still accurate. While the sorrow was deep, the goodness of God was even more profound. As it was then, so it is today. One of my favorite things about the book of Psalms is the presence of Psalms of lament. Many of the Psalms are of God's children crying out to Him during their pain. Yet nearly every Psalm of lament ends with a verse or two thanking God. While communicating their sorrow, the writers of the Psalms always conclude by remembering what is good within their lives. This is the attitude of someone whom God has truly touched. We are not saved from sorrow. We experience the same suffering as every other person. Yet we can experience the pain while still being fully aware of what is good in our lives. Such is the mindset of gratitude. I don't have everything I want. Life is not exactly as I would have it. Yet what I have been given outweighs anything I would like to change. When I focus on my wants, discouragement is easy to come. When I focus on what I have received, gratitude flows freely. Life is better lived in gratitude. Listen to Psalm 100. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before Him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God, it is He who made us, and we are His. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Give thanks to Him and praise His name. For the Lord is good and His love endures forever. His faithfulness continues throughout all generations. Life is better lived in gratitude. Live that today.